Some nights feel different. The quiet isn't always empty.
When you're alone, even familiar places can turn strange and dangerous.
It was almost midnight, and the office floor was silent except for the faint hum of the vending machine. My computer screen glowed brightly in the dark, documents scattered across the desk. Everyone else had left hours ago, but I stayed behind, finishing a project. The atmosphere was calm, until I heard it, the faint creak of a door down the hall. At first, I thought it was just the building settling, but then came the sound of slow, deliberate footsteps.
Froze in my chair, my ears straining. The footsteps were heavier now, echoing closer. I tried to convince myself it was the janitor, but I remembered. He only worked mornings. The lights flickered overhead, plunging the hall into momentary darkness before buzzing back on. A cold shiver ran down my spine. I stood up, my chair rolling back silently.
Turning the corner, I finally saw him. A man, dressed in black from head to toe, stood in the middle of the hall, motionless. His head tilted slightly, as if studying me. I whispered, "Who's there?" But he didn't move. Then, slowly, he began walking toward me, each step echoing louder than the last. My breath quickened as I backed away, my palms sweating. I turned and ran, my shoes pounding against the tiles. The echo of his footsteps followed, faster and heavier. I darted past empty cubicles, the rows of computers now looking like lifeless sentinels. My bag slipped from my shoulder and hit the ground, but I didn't stop. The exit sign glowed faintly ahead like a beacon of hope. I pushed open the stairwell door, the metal slamming behind me, but the footsteps echoed right after. Breathless, I stumbled down the stairwell, gripping the railing to keep from falling. My chest burned, but I couldn't stop. I glanced back. He was still there, closer than ever, his face still hidden in the shadows. I burst through the lobby doors, the night air slapping me in the face. For a second, I thought I was safe. Then, from the corner of the glass window, I saw his reflection. He was already outside, waiting. It was a rainy Friday night when my manager handed me one last delivery before closing. The address was strange, scribbled in messy handwriting with no apartment number, just a note, side entrance, basement door. I remember thinking, great, some drunk college kid again. I threw the pizza in my bag, grabbed my jacket, and headed out. The storm outside was heavy, rain washing the streets clean, but something about that address felt wrong. It wasn't even in our usual deliveries. The GPS led me to the edge of town, where houses got sparse and streetlights turned into shadows. Finally, I found it. A tall, isolated house with peeling paint and boarded-up windows. It didn't look like anyone had lived there in years. I almost turned back, but then I saw the faint light glowing from the basement window. The note had been clear. Basement door. My stomach twisted as I walked through the overgrown yard, shoes sinking into mud, the storm muting every sound but my heartbeat. The basement door creaked open with little effort, as if it had been waiting for me. A wave of damp, moldy air hit my face. "Hello, pizza delivery," I called, but only silence answered. I stepped inside. The basement was half finished. Bare concrete walls, a single hanging bulb flickering above. In the corner, an old wooden chair faced the wall. The pizza box felt heavier in my hands, and every step echoed like footsteps chasing me. I should have left right then, but I didn't. I moved deeper. The air shifted. I set the pizza down on a dusty table, when suddenly the basement door slammed shut. My heart jumped. I spun around, but no one was there. "Okay, not funny," I shouted. That's when I noticed it. Footprints on the floor, muddy and fresh, leading to a dark corner where the light didn't reach. I followed them with my eyes, and then I saw it,
A tall figure crouched low, just barely visible, watching me. I froze, every nerve in my body screaming to run. It was just past midnight when I pulled off the highway, the gas tank needles sinking into empty. The road had been nothing but darkness for miles, not a single car in sight. Finally, I spotted the faint glow of a gas station sign, flickering like it was about to burn out. Something about the silence of that place was wrong. Too still, like the world had pressed pause. I stepped inside the store, and the air was heavy with the smell of dust and stale cigarettes. The fluorescent lights buzzed overhead, each flicker echoing in the emptiness. No cashier, no customers. Just rows of half-stocked shelves and a warped security mirror that bent my reflection into something grotesque. I cleared my throat, hoping someone would appear behind the counter. No one did.
That's when I saw him. Through the window, by the gas pumps, a man was standing perfectly still. His body was turned toward me, but his face was swallowed by shadow. He didn't move, didn't even shift his weight. He just watched. My stomach sank as I realized he hadn't been there when I pulled in.
That's when I saw him. Through the window, by the gas pumps, a man was standing perfectly still. His body was turned toward me, but his face was swallowed by shadow. He didn't move, didn't even shift his weight. He just watched. My stomach sank as I realized he hadn't been there when I pulled in. I rushed back outside, fumbling with the gas nozzle, telling myself to ignore him. But the air felt thicker with every passing second. I could hear footsteps, slow, deliberate, pressing against the cracked concrete. I turned, and the man was closer now, moving toward me with this unnatural steadiness. I dropped the nozzle, heart hammering, and slammed into my car. I locked the doors, turned the key, and tore out of that station, tires screeching against the pavement. The road stretched endlessly before me, headlights cutting through the dark. My hands shook against the wheel, but I couldn't stop staring into the rearview mirror. The man was still there, standing by the pumps, watching, not chasing, not moving, just waiting, as if he knew I'd have to come back someday.
It was nearly midnight when my shift was supposed to end, but the manager handed me one last delivery. The address didn't even show up properly on GPS. It was just marked as a point somewhere deep past the outskirts of town. The road was empty, wrapped in fog, and every passing mile made me feel like I was leaving civilization behind. When I finally reached the house, it looked abandoned. An old farmhouse, its porch light flickering like it was barely alive. No cars, no sounds, no sign of life. I hesitated, but with the pizza in my hand, I forced myself to step onto the creaking porch. I knocked. After a long silence, the door creaked open by itself. "Hello? Pizza delivery!" I called out. My voice echoed inside, but there was no reply. I thought I saw a figure standing at the far end of the hallway, unmoving, just barely visible in the dark. My stomach dropped. I stepped inside cautiously, each floorboard groaning beneath me. The air smelled of mildew and something rotten. I placed the pizza box on a dusty table and turned to leave, but the door slammed shut behind me with a force that shook the walls. My breath caught in my throat. Before I could even scream, hands shot out from the shadows. Cold, bony fingers wrapped around my arms and pulled me back. I struggled, kicking, shouting, but the house swallowed my cries. The last thing I saw was the pizza box sliding off the table, the lid flipping open, and something inside moving. The night hides secrets you can't explain. What you saw tonight may linger long after the lights go out. Ordinary places can hide extraordinary threats. Shadows move. even when you think you're alone.
And sometimes, escaping isn't enough. The feeling of being watched never truly leaves. It follows you, silently, always.